Hey everyone, Tony Traguardo from the Port Washington Public Library here with another episode of the Hoopla Diaries, which can be found on the Port Washington Public Library's YouTube channel. And on this show, I talk about some of the great things that can be found on Hoopla, the digital streaming service available through the Port Washington Public Library and through a lot of local libraries. And for this episode, I want to do something similar to what I did in a previous episode. I want to focus on some of the great musical artists that have appeared at the Port Washington Public Library, whose work also appears on Spotify. There are quite a few of them. And I want to start with a band from the Rockaway Beach area, and they are called Black Rabbit, and Black BLAC. And they went pretty much viral on the internet a few years back, which led to an appearance on the Ellen TV show. And they were on an online show called Audio Tree and did a tremendous live set of music. And the audio from that recording is available to be heard on Hoopla. So it's Black Rabbit on Audio Tree. Listen to a band that combines elements of Pink Floyd and the Beatles and Living Colour and Led Zeppelin and Sly and the Family Stone and just all kinds of tremendous influences that you will hear in Black Rabbit's work and their originals and their covers. They're really just a tremendous band, so I encourage you to go check out Black Rabbit on Hoopla. We were honored to have been able to host a gentleman who was part of the Monty Python extended family. He's the minstrel in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He was also, for people who are Beatles fans, you will know him as the man behind the Ruddles, who also played Ron Nasty. But we had Neil Innes at the Port Washington Public Library. Sad to say, the late Neil Innes. But Neil did a set of music that included some of the work that he did with a group called the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band. The Bonzos were formed in the late 1960s in Britain. The Bonzos were the only musical act other than keyboardist Billy Preston to appear in a Beatles film, and they were in Magical Mystery Tour singing their song Death Cab for Cutie, the song that the band is named after, actually. And they just have a wild catalog of great music that also incorporates a lot of humor and a lot of literary references, and it's just brilliant stuff. And a lot of the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band music is available on Hoopla, so I encourage you to go and check it out. Speaking of honored, I have the honor of playing with these guys and working with these guys and telling stories with these guys when we do our Simon and Garfunkel program. But Aztec Two-Step has been together together as a duo since 1972. Neil Schulman, the original second member of the duo, left a few years back, but Rex Fowler, the main songwriter in the group, has now teamed up with his very talented wife Dodie Pettit to form Aztec 2.0 along with Steve Roos, and they are recording great stuff which appears now on YouTube, and you can catch some of their new music. But the original music that Rex made with Neil in the early 70s, a few of the compilations, things like that, are available to be heard on Hoopla. And harmonies, tremendous guitar playing. Neil is a gifted guitar player. And songs, just great songs, can be found on Hoopla if you look for Aztec Two-Step. Another person who we had at the library back in 2011 was Jen Chapin. Jen Chapin, the daughter of Harry Chapin. Jen has a jazzy voice and plays in a trio that brings out the jazz in her, but she's also got folk sensibilities too, and is a fine songwriter. But the album that appears on Hoopla is of Jen doing covers of Stevie Wonder's material. It's amazing to hear Stevie Wonder's work reinterpreted by this very, very talented songwriter and performer who does these unique interpretations of things. So I urge you to please check out Jen Chapin's Stevie Wonder covers album on Hoopla. December of 2011, Pete Fornatale, who was a Port Washington resident for many, 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 many years, came to the library, and I was with him, and we brought our Simon and Garfunkel program that we had been doing around the Northeast, especially in the tri-state area. And at that time it was called How Terribly Strange to Be 70. It had originally been called Old Friends, Bookends, I think, after the book that he wrote about Simon and Garfunkel's Bookends album. And when we showed up at the library, we had a special guest with us, and his name was Art Garfunkel, one half of Simon and Garfunkel. He's the Garfunkel half. And even though many of Art's records are on Columbia, and if you're on Hoopla, you will notice that a lot of albums on the Columbia label or artists on the Columbia label are not represented. It's because of contractual situations that Hoopla does not carry Columbia's catalog. But two of Art Garfunkel's albums from the 2000s, which were not on Columbia, are available, including Some Enchanted Evening, which is a fine, fine record, to be heard on the service. And I would encourage you to go and check those out. And we began a series at the library called Inside the Musician's Mind, and we've been having fun with that. And one of the early guests we had on Inside the Musician's Mind was a producer, arranger, whose work you have heard on so many hit songs in the Billboard Top 40. And he's worked with the likes of Barbra Streisand and Laura Nyro, and he's on Sweet Caroline, as he puts it. He's the guy that came up with those three notes that everybody knows. Sweet Caroline, ba, ba, ba. That was his idea. His name is Charles Colello, and Charles was with us at the library. Charles was in a very unique place in that he worked with both Frank Sinatra and the Four Seasons within the course of a year. With the Four Seasons, he put together an album with them called Genuine Imitation Life Gazette, which he produced and arranged. And it's a concept album. It's basically a newspaper. It's the Four Seasons reporting on what's going on in the world at that time. Fascinating record, very different from those early hits that the Four Seasons put out in the early 60s, and different than what they did in the 70s. If you like music of the late 60s, definitely owe it to yourself to check out Genuine Imitation Life Gazette. Again, so well written, very well played, beautifully produced. A little while later, he found himself with Frank Sinatra producing and arranging an album called Watertown, which is a concept album. Sinatra's done other concept albums, I shouldn't say that. But this was different from every album that Sinatra ever recorded in that he didn't do it live with the orchestra or the band. It gives the album a different feel, but I find it unique in Frank Sinatra's catalog. So if you're not a Sinatra fan, give it a listen to hear this very interesting record. If you are a Sinatra fan and you've never heard it, give it a listen. It is, oddly enough, one of the lowest selling albums in Sinatra's catalog, but very, very, very interesting. So that is Watertown and Genuine Imitation Life Gazette. Check them out. Both are produced and arranged by Charles Colello, our guest, in April of 2019 at Inside the Musician's Mind. John Platt, the very, very fine person and very fine DJ from WFUV and from On Your Radar, and a gentleman who's been a friend of the Port Washington Public Library and appears at so many of the theaters in the Long Island area, introducing shows and just generally bringing his personality and his love of music to so many places. He guest hosted a few of the episodes of Inside the Musician's Mind, and he brought with him in February of 2019 the amazingly talented Nellie McKay. And Nellie McKay's music appears on Hoopla, and she is funny and clever and wildly just sort of I don't know how to put it. She can just pull imagery and ideas from everywhere. And if you don't know her music, again, like I say, I encourage you, go over to Hoopla and listen to some Nellie Mackay. And again, maybe one day we'll have her back at the library, but she was just a delight. Also appearing with John as the guest moderator of Inside the Musician's Mind was Susan Werner. Susan was with us in June of 2019. I believe it is only Susan's debut album that appears on Hoopla, but it is there. And Susan, again, is just such a thoughtful and clever wordsmith and songwriter, and really, truly worth exploring. So if you hop onto Hoopla, you can have a chance to listen to all of this great music and know that all these wonderful people and talented players have been at your library. And keep an eye open. We're going to continue to bring you great music and great programs as time goes on. And for now, I hope that you will enjoy all of this on Hoopla. And thank you for watching, and happy listening. Hope to see you soon.